So, my dear ones, welcome into the third Sunday of this wonderful first month of the first decade of the first year. And our willingness and our readiness to be wonderfully brand new in it all. And as I always remind myself, the way to be experiencing the new is to be the new in it. And so we have this opportunity now to revisit the basic fundamental principles of the science of mind and spirit in January. And we've looked at what this thing called life is, this thing called God is, this thing called good is. It's all the one thing that we can't truly fully name at all. Because once we name it, we limit it. But we're fascinated by it. And there is that inkling within us to know more and more and more about exactly what it is. And so we've looked at that thing itself and its infinite omniscience. We've looked at the way it works, and now through consciousness, and now we're looking at what it does. And what it does today, it thinks, it contemplates, it ponders, but not like us instantaneously, just like that, and it's done. But it does think, and once the divine mind thinks, once divine consciousness moves upon an idea, that idea is directly and immediately translated into a form, an outward experience, an outward manifestation. So the great thinker thinks, something happens, and there's an experience as a result of it. It's awesome. And the more awesome fact or truth to understand and know is that you think, and I think, the very same way as the divine thinks. We have an idea, we think upon the idea, we think into ourselves that idea, we fold into ourselves that idea, we contemplate in ourselves that idea, and then that idea becomes an experience in my life and in your life. We are thinkers, we think. That's what we do. And because we think, we manifest. And the two things are just part of the same coin. We think and we manifest, we think and we manifest, we think and we manifest. And it's going on all of the time, day and night, whether asleep, awake, or whatever, we're thinking. And it's a beautiful thing to remember and to know that as spirit thinks, so too do I. As spirit creates, so too do I. And that same one power in the universe, greater than I am, is using me and I'm using it in the way I am thinking. In the way I am thinking. Now, this is awesome. This is amazing. And every time I remind myself of this and really get a sense of it, I'm amazed. I am amazed. Be amazed. Because you are an amazing thinker. You truly are. And you're using that one power. It's not something you have to get. It's already within you. You're loaded with it. You're full of it. That one power in the universe greater than you are that you get to use. And therefore you can say there's one life, and that life is my life, and that life is God life, and that life is perfect. And I am in it now, and I use its power now. Now I use its power, available to me in all of its fullness. And the question always comes up, well, how much of this power is available to me? And the answer is all of it. How much of it then can I really work on and use? Well, as much as you can embody of it, that's all. I mean, you could get somebody and for the visual of it and say they're filling you up with that power, they're washing that power all over you. But only as much as you can grab onto in belief, in absolute certainty, can you use. That's all you can use. Although all of it is available to you and to me too. But we use very little of it, my dear ones. If we used more of it, this world would be a different world, and your life would be a different life. And no matter how good your life is, it would be even much, much, much more wonderful than what you are experiencing. No matter how bad your life is, oh my gosh, that would be transformed overnight. If we were using, to the best of our ability, that power. Okay, how do we use it? Two ways. We can use it mindfully, or we can use it mindlessly. And you and I do that. That's the only difference between the way the divine thinks and you and I think. The divine thinks in one certain sure way all the time, same yesterday, today, tomorrow, but you, because we live in a dualistic world on planet Earth in material form, we have choices to make between good and bad, dark and light, and, right and wrong, all the usual. So you and I get to choose, and we don't always make the most wondrous choices. So we choose. And we can choose mindfully or mindlessly. And when we choose mindlessly, we've gone into mindless thinking. Mindless thinking is random thinking. Random thinking is dangerous thinking. You hear me say this a lot. And so, my dear ones, when we're thinking mindlessly, anything can happen. It's like rolling dice. Good, bad, and indifferent can show up. And because I'm thinking mindlessly, I don't always manifest the best results. Not at all. Not at all. And that, again, will be a hodgepodge of things. Good sometimes, not so good sometimes, awful sometimes, perhaps closing a little bit very good sometimes, depends. But you have the choice, as I have. You can make the decision to think mindfully. Now, when you think mindlessly, imagine this. It's like swimming upstream. Now, any swimmer will tell you swimming upstream takes effort. You have to strive at it. It's efforting. It's a struggle at times. And it's not the most pleasant way to swim. On the other hand, when you're thinking mindfully, it's like swimming downstream. No effort, no striving, no struggle. You do it with grace and ease. You can relax and just go with the flow, and all is well. That's how it is to think mindfully. There is no efforting in it. So when we're thinking mindfully, what we have to do is back up the thoughts we're thinking, support the thoughts we're thinking, be with the thoughts we're thinking. And so you have this wonderful idea, you have this wonderful thought. Now, all good ideas is a divine idea that percolates up in you. And you see it, you imagine it, you vision it, and you latch onto it, and you say, it's a great idea, and I am going to manifest that idea. I'm going to realize that idea. I want that experience. And so you get clear and very clear on it, and that's grand. However, 2 hours later, 2 days later, you must say, oh, for God's sake, what was I thinking about? I'm never going to be able to do that. That's impossible. How could I possibly think that I could have done it? Now, here's where the mindful thinker steps in. The mindful thinker says, put that idea out of your head. You're about to sabotage yourself now the way you usually tend to sabotage yourself, but not this time. This is a divine idea in your mind, and because it is, you can realize it, and don't worry about the how of it. It's going to show up and happen if you do one thing. If you support your idea, and that means that even when you don't feel it, even when you don't think it's going to happen, even when you don't believe it's going to happen, you still support the idea, and you say that idea was a divine idea in the mind of the divine itself that showed up by means of me, and because it showed up by means of me, that means that the divine wants to express this idea by means of me. Get it out there into the world by means of me. I'm the channel for this idea. So I need to support the idea. So yes, I'm supporting the idea. You need to be its cheerleader, so to speak. And if you have to get a pair of pom-poms, get a pair of pom-poms. It'll be a symbol that will remind you, pick up the pom-poms and support your idea, even if it is visually in mind. Remember, you're an Imagineer, and so am I. And and you've heard it before, if you can think it, if you can believe it, if you can imagine it, you truly can manifest it and demonstrate it and experience it. But it's not going to happen just because you had the idea and now you can sit back and relax and let it just all fall into place. You have heard, you have the idea, and then you grasp the idea, you hold the idea tight, and you say to yourself, this divine idea is going to be realized by means of me, and I'm going to do what it takes by means of Spirit, enabling me to wake up and stay remembering that this is not my own idea. It's the divine idea, and I just get to see it through. I get to see it through. So, I rely upon the thinker within me with the capital T, the doer within me with the capital D. I rely upon my source. I rely upon its principle. I rely upon its law of creation. And when I'm thinking mindfully, I'm in harmony with the law. I'm one with the law of creation, which is how things get done. I'm one with that, and I support that. And I really and truly keep telling myself and knowing within myself, this is happening now. It's happening as I sleep. It's happening every time I think of it and know that it is happening. It is happening. And I just have to keep faith in it, keep trust in it, keep imagining it, keep picturing it, keep seeing it, and enter into the picture that I'm seeing, enter into the vision that I'm seeing, enter into it, become part of it, one with it, and see it all unfolding in that interior state of being. And as I support that, and as I keep knowing that, and I say, no, this idea is not my own, it is the idea of the one who thought it in me to express it through me, and therefore, consequently, it is going to happen because I am an Imagineer, I am a thinker, I am a processor of thought, and I know how to do this. And I am getting better and better and better at doing it. This time I manifest. This time I will know the experience of that idea. This time. Because of myself, I'm not only doing it, I've all the help in all of creation, backing me up and supporting me and applauding me along the way. And that's the truth. Now, I'm telling you, it's not exactly the easiest thing to do when I'm down and out, when I'm feeling blue and all the rest of it. But even when I'm feeling blue, I can still say, I know that the power and the presence of Spirit within me is working through me, even though I'm as blue as all can get up, and I really feel every last bit of energy drain. Oh, I'm pulling that energy up right here and right now. Snap out of it, for heaven's sakes. The power is within you. Use it. Be intelligent about it. Understand the way it works. What I send out there comes right back to me. It's the power of intention. It's the power of attraction. It's the power of manifestation. That's how it works. So snap out of it. After you've allowed yourself to be blue for a few minutes. But here's the key to that. If you really want to be blue, give yourself up, whole heart, soul, power, body, mind. A whole lot of you give it up to blueness. Say, I'll become the deepest blue that I can become. I am going to allow myself to feel this to the depth of my very being. Blue, blue, blue. Let me tell you, you'll only stand that intensity for a minute or two, and then you'll snap out of it. It's enough. You'll jump out of that fire, I can tell you that. That's it. But give yourself permission. It's okay. It visited you. Own it. Acknowledge it. Because if you don't, it'll hang on longer. It'll stick longer. It'll stay longer. It'll just cling. If you don't, it'll be like a little puppy who wants attention, a kitten who wants, a child who wants an attention, an adult who wants an attention. That's a cling on. It'll do that until it gets the attention that it wants. Give it. Own it. Honor it. It's yours. You created it. It's your creation. Just say, come to Mama, come to Papa. I think I'm going to do something else with you now, dear. And you mold it into something else. Because you can. Because you're, you know what? I'm not going to wait for people's great moments in their lives to tell them how neat they are. or to be part of, as usually we are these days, we're part of celebrations of life before people actually decide to leave here. And I love that idea, to tell them right here and right now. But why are we waiting for occasions to do this? All of a sudden, when an occasion comes along, this person is told, oh, you're so magnificent, you're so godlike, you do so much good in the world. Because of you, this world is so changed, and your light is making the difference, and so on. Why are we waiting for a big occasion to tell each other that? Why can't we tell each other that every day when we bump into each other? I'm so glad I bumped into the light that you are. I feel warmer as a result of it. And then you'll see their jaw drop and their mouth open. But nevertheless, why aren't we telling each other who and what we are, reminding each other who and what we are on any occasion, any time, any day, in any moment? We are so miserably mean. We withhold so much of that when we're in each other's company. But we've no problem pointing out to each other all the ways we don't measure up. No problem at all. We're not mean at all about that. So I think that once you know of the power and the presence of the Spirit that exists everywhere, and especially in you, you kind of measure. You know what it's like? It's like when you have a uniform, you wear a uniform of any kind, you put on that uniform and you become something more than you were before you put the uniform on. You become what the uniform represents as well. And you don't do that until you put the uniform on. Well, I'm saying to us all today, put the uniform on. Put the mind on that was in Christ Jesus and the Buddha and everybody else who has an ounce of common sense and intelligence. And be that. Be that. And be it now. Every single person amongst us is worthy of being all that we are. But you can play around with it. And as Mother Patrick used to say to us in the 4th grade, God will not be mocked, child. Never quite understood what she was saying then. But you know, you can't play at it. You cannot play at it, and you cannot go to being less than yourself, and you cannot go into that which disrupts harmony, unity, and oneness. You can't get to play mean. You don't get to play nasty. You don't get to play any of that once you know the power and the presence and the life and the light and the love and the magnificence and the amazing, incredible beauty and power that lies within you, around you, about you, everywhere present, and that means in everyone you meet too. For those who have eyes to see and a heart that can feel it. A heart that can feel it. We all want to put on the heart of a Grinch that was changed, the heart of a Scrooge that had his own metanoia, transformation, when we're with each other. And when we're angry and aggressive and bitter and all mixed up and so on, we need to have that great spiritual fortitude to be able to stand ourselves down, to stare ourselves in that image and decide, is this me? Is this truly me? And is this how I wish to show up? Is this the energy I wish to spread? Is this where I want to be and who I want to be? And there's something inside you that'll say, are you kidding me? Of course not. Of course not. This is not who and what you are. You're not that. You're not that. And you know, it takes a village for us to get there. It takes a community, a spiritual community. Remember, in the word community, unity exists. Come, it means come. Unity. Come, unity. So it takes that village to gently remind us, this is not who we are. Well, who in heaven's name showed up by means of you today? Where's yourself? What happened to yourself? But to do it nicely, not in a judgmental way or condemning way, but nicely. Because we get more with a spoon of honey than we do with a bottle of vinegar. You put a spoon of honey in someone's mouth and it's okay. Try and pour a bottle of vinegar down their neck. That's a whole different matter. A whole different matter. So I would say to us all today, there is that power of thought, of consciousness in you and in me and in all of life. And we are using it all of the time. The question is, how am I using it? How am I, this incredible, unique, individualized expression of that one power, that one life, that whole life, that perfect life, that God life? How am I, relating with that, in that, and as that? How does that show up in me? How does it show up in you? Are you the better for that, knowing this? And is everybody around you the better for knowing it too, by means of you? Because if that's not happening, we're not getting it. Oh, my dear ones, when you get it, even if you only get it for a minute or an hour or a day, the places you go, the experiences you enjoy, the wonder and awe that fills you, the amazement of it all. You know what I'm talking about because everybody in the room has experienced it for some moments or another, somewhere or another. And when you do, you want it more. You want more of it, you want more of it, you want to revisit it. Revisit that which is already with you all the time, all the time. So how powerful are you? How do you feel about yourself? How did you walk into the sanctuary today? What were you feeling? What were you thinking when you came in here today? Do you think you might need to make a little adjustment to any of it? Do you think that any of it might be adjustable? And do you want to adjust it, the question is? Because remember, thought grooves are deep, and it's proven in psychology in the brain that a constant, continuous looping thought will make channels in your actual brain. However, you're so brilliant, you can create new channels, and when you do, the other old ones fill in. That's how amazing you are. That's how powerful you are. That's how awesome you are. There is nothing good. There is nothing bad, but thinking makes it so. Thinking makes everything so. Do you understand that? Thinking makes every single thing so. If you know it, if I know it, then why are we thinking the way we're thinking that's making things so that we don't want to experience? Makes no sense at all. We're so intelligent, and yet, in the way we conduct ourselves, so unintelligent. Troy says we live in a field of intelligence and operate in that field of intelligence intelligently. I say we live in a field of intelligence and operate in it unintelligently at times. So we could pull ourselves back from that kind of thinking. So the question is simple for this week. Are you going to continue this week thinking mindlessly, or will you endeavor this week to think mindfully, which is powerfully, which is to think as the divine thinks, mindfully. And when you're in that mindful thinking set, your life will proceed with grace and with ease, in peace and in joy, in harmony and loving relationship with all, and you will be creatively expressing. Think mindlessly, and you'll be striving, you will be straining, you will be struggling, and it won't be so hotsy-totsy. That's for sure. The choice is yours. And that's what makes you so powerful. You have the gift of choice. And then you make a decision around that choice. And whatever that decision is will decide the kind of day you're going to have, the kind of life that will be expressed through you that day. And it will also indicate the kind of life that people around you will have too, depending on how you show up. So we do impress and are impressed. We were first impressed by the power and the presence of Spirit that showed up in a moment, your first, if you like, birthday. You were impressed with Spirit's own desire to be informed by means of you, and I will never tire saying that. You, in one moment of time as the humans know it, became the manifestation of Spirit in form. You became Spirit, one power, one presence in form, manifested form. Because Spirit wanted deeply to know itself as you. So as Meister Eckhart says, for heaven's sake, he didn't say for heaven's sake. Apart from for heaven's sake, he said, let God be God by means of you. Let God be God by means of you. Oh my goodness. Say this with me. I am letting God be God, by means of me. Say it again. I am letting God be God by means of me. Say it again and close your eyes. I am letting God be God by means of me. And so it is.